have, I believe we have our roll call, please.
Good morning, everyone. Calling the roll for the Monday, April 8th Board of Control meeting. It is now 11:01 a.m. We have Nan Baker, Dale Miller, Trevor Macular serving as an alternate for Dan Brady, Mike Chambers serving as an alternate for Mike Dever, Matt Carroll serving as an alternate for Armin Budish,
Here.
Angela Rich serving as an alternate for Dennis Kennedy, Lenora Lockett. We have a quorum.
All right, thank you. Minutes from April 1st. Are there any corrections, comments, questions about the minutes? If hearing none, I'd like to move to approve them. Is there a second? Motion and second. All those in favor of approving the minutes, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. Any public comment today?
No public comment at this time.
Public comment. All right, we'll move on to our contracts and awards.
And no tabled items.
No tabled items.
Right.
So ready for new items?
Yes, first item, BC 2019-274, Department of Public Works, submitting an agreement with City of Seven Hills in the amount not to exceed $300,000 for sanitary and sewer maintenance services located in the County Sewer District Number 6 for the period April 8th, 2019 through December 31st, 2019.
Mike Chambers of Public Works, asking for approval of this agreement. We've been working with the City of Seven Hills for several years. And this is our first opportunity to get back in there to provide services for sanitary services. This is going to be a direct bill community, and it'll be up to $300,000 for the remainder of the year.
I have a question. Mike, are these, how long are these agreements usually, the duration?
Matt, some of them we have that continue year after year, but this particular one, they've identified $300,000, and it's our first time in there, so this is good till 12/31 of this year. And then obviously our goal is to renew it again.
See what happens.
And then eventually hopefully make them full-time where it goes on the tax duplicate.
Sure. Yeah. Other questions? Trevor.
Like how many cities does this make it? Do you know how total number of cities that would be?
I think we're totally involved with 41, and that includes Lorraine County. We have a little agreement with them. In the water department, we have a little agreement with them as well. I'll get you that exact number.
Thank you.
I think 35 are direct bill, I'm sorry, a full service.
Other questions? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor of the item, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Next item, BC 2019-275, Department of Public Works, recommending a payment to John J. Donnelly in the amount of $1,312.50 for mediation legal fees in connection with the Cuyahoga County, Ohio versus HPCP, ILLC et al. Probate court case for the appropriation of real property in connection with the right-of-way plans as set forth in plat number M-5012, parcel number 2-WD for the grade separation of Stearns Road at the Norfolk Southern Railroad in Olmsted Township.
Nicole English with Public Works. You might remember about a month ago we came to you with a settlement on this parcel. And so this was the bill that came from Judge Donnelly, who was the mediator in the case. And so per the eminent domain laws that we, the county, have to pay the fee for the mediation.
Questions? Hearing none, I'd like to move to approve this item. Is there a second? Motion and second. All those in favor of approving the item, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Next item, BC 2019-276, Department of Information Technology, submitting an amendment to a contract with Chrisman and Associates LLC for consultant services on the real property tax CAMA system project for the period April 7th, 2016 through April 30th, 2019 to extend the time period to December 31st, 2019, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $112,000.
Good morning, Board. Dennis Sullivan with the Department of IT. This amendment is the second amendment to this contract. The total now not to exceed is, with the approval today, would be $532,000 in total. The dollar hourly rate has stayed the same at $70. So for those of you doing the math, the May 1st to the end of the year, 8-month period is at a maximum of 200 hours a month. So that's 1,600 hours times the 70 rate gives you the 112K. Any specifics to as to why we did the amendment route was because of how deep we are in this project and near completion, which Debbie Deptovich is with me today, and she'll give you specifics or updates on the project.
Want to go ahead, Deb? Thank you.
Sure. So, yes.
Any questions? Councilman?
Are there problems that occurred that required the expenditure of this additional money?
I would say yes. Initially, we were hoping to go live project, and we had phased in different areas, so that we had some post-go live activities this year. However, the data conversion has taken longer than we had anticipated, and we have approximately 6,000 billing test cases that we need to go through to ensure that the system is calculating all of the different scenarios accurately. So, yes, we have had to.
And can you explain what exactly the additional $112,000 is for? What are we going to get for that money?
This is to retain the current contractor that we have, project manage the project through the end of the year.
Okay.
Other questions?
These
Yeah.
things are never easy.
If there's no other questions, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor of approving the item, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Next, please.
Next item, BC 2019-277, Department of Human Resources, submitting an amendment to a contract with the James B. Oswald Company for professional healthcare consultant services. And it's for the period April 15th, 2016 through April 14th, 2019, to extend the time period to October 14th, 2019, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $116,486.50.
Hollywood's Department of Human Resources. So we are requesting a 6-month amendment to the Oswald contract. That'll give us some more time to work through the RFP process. So as we've looked at priorities, really over the last 6 to 8 months, it was with open enrollment, stabilization of the ERP, and the continuous project that moves forward with ERP and stabilization. So we are requesting a 6-month extension. We will be sending out an RFP and engage through that process, and are confident that we can get through it and award a contract by this new deadline.
Holly, is that half year, half the funds, basically? Is that?
Yes.
Okay. Are there other questions? Anyone? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second? Motion and second. All those in favor of the item, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Next item, BC 2019-278, Department of Human Resources, recommending an award on Requisition 44879 to the Metro Health System in the amount not to exceed $70,000 for biometric screenings and flu shot services. It's for the period April 8th, 2019 through December 31st, 2019.
So we are requesting an RFP exemption as well as the next item is an award for Metro Health System. And this is for biometric screenings and flu shot services. They have been our historical provider of the flu shots and biometric screenings. We have got some pricing in previous years from other vendors on the flu shots. However, they cannot compete with Metro's pricing, and especially with the biometric screenings on and how they can come on site and visit our various locations. So we are requesting the RFP exemption and award so that they continue those services throughout this year.
Andrea, just.
I was just going to say, Holly, it's not an RP exemption.
Okay. So I was
It's
reading
just-
the notes
it's-
here. No problem.
So there was not, go ahead.
An interagency agreement.
Oh, okay. All right. Any questions about 278? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor of the item, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Next item, item number BC 2019-279, Department of Human Resources. It's a two-part item. A, submitting an RP exemption on Requisition 45043, which will result in a payment to Sepharadi Group in the amount of $763.79 for court reporter and transcription services. And B, recommending the payment in connection with said RP exemption.
Pat Smock on behalf of the Department of Human Resources. This is a payment for court reporter and transcription services for a deposition on a workers' comp case. This is a service that's used infrequently on some of the cases that reach the Court of Common Pleas. We did receive a question regarding bidding for these services, and the department is looking into that. The history shows that the billing to HR is under $800 per year by this vendor. We're going to work through that, and we appreciate your consideration of this request.
Any questions? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second? Motion and second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks, Pat.
Next item, BC 2019-280.
Just a second, Andrew. I'm sorry. Councilman?
Just a comment that this is an item that would not even need to come to the Board of Control under the legislation that's pending before the council.
I was thinking the same thing.
Okay.
So, thank you, Councilman. Go ahead, Andrea.
Next item, BC 2019-280, Department of Human Resources, submitting an amendment to a contract with WageWorks, Inc. for Consolidated Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act Administrative Services, also known as COBRA, for the period January 1st, 2013 through March 31st, 2019, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2019, and no additional funds required.
Hollywood's Department of Human Resources, again, a similar extension, 3-month extension. We did issue an RFP for this process and are just continuing to work through the award process. So this will give us a few more months just to finalize that, issue the award, and finalize the contract.
Any questions? Yes, Councilman.
How many bidders did you get on the new contract?
We had, I believe there were six or seven, I think it was 6 total that had issued responses, and we made them all aware last week that we are going to continue services with our current vendor.
For 3 months?
For 3 months and for the next award. We're moving through the process now.
So you have selected them, but you
Correct.
just don't have it ready to bring to us?
Correct.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Right. If there are no further questions, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor of the item, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks, Holly.
Next item, BC 2019-281, Office of Procurement and Diversity, submitting amendments to various contracts in connection with a master services agreement with Key Bank National Association for procurement card program services, and it's for the period May 1st, 2014 through December 31st, 2019, to expand the scope of services by adding various departments effective April 8th, 2019, and for additional funds in the total amount not to exceed $11,200. Under the first contract, it's for the Public Defender's Office in the amount not to exceed $8,200. On the second contracts, it's two departments being added. Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Court Division in the amount not to exceed $2,500, and Department of Consumer Affairs in the amount not to exceed $500.
Lenora Lockett, Office of Procurement and Diversity. The procurement card operates similar to a secure credit card. As such, to add users and or money, we must amend the Key Bank contract. In this case, we're increasing the amount of funds for the public defender at their request and adding the 2 departments listed in number 2.
And these amounts are amount to credit card fee type fees. That's what they are, transactional type fees.
There are no fees. These are for the total amount and not to
They're just for
exceed-
spending, actual spending.
Yes.
And there are no fees with it.
Correct, as long as we pay on time, which we pay every month on time.
It's more like a prepaid debit card, sort of.
Correct.
Okay. All right. Any questions? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and second. All those in favor of the item, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Next item, item number BC 2019-282, Fiscal Office, Office of Budget and Management, submitting an amendment to a contract with CHM Warnock, LLC, for asset management services for the Hilton Cleveland Downtown Hotel for the period June 28th, 2016 through June 28th, 2019, to extend the time period to June 30th, 2020, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $255,000.
Good morning, Wendy Finn with Office of Budget and Management. We're requesting to amend this contract for 1 year with CHM and plan to RFP it for the following year. And they provide guidance with the hotel management and capital planning.
And let's see, that's the $255,000 is a year's worth, basically. Is that the same amount we've been paying?
It's a slight increase. The prior year was 240,000.
Okay. Any questions?
Yes.
Councilman?
Did the original contract provide for the option of an extension?
I don't believe it did, but I can verify that.
So, why are we extending it as opposed to having it put out for RFP before this came in?
We would like to extend it because of the knowledge that they have and how involved that they've been, and to give us time to do a full RFP.
And realistically, how many other folks do you think are out there that could bid on this?
Do you know how many, Nicole, last time when you bid it the first time?
Sorry, Nicole English. Public Works had put this out the first time, and I believe we had 3 firms submit on the hotel, and we actually interviewed to select CHM Warnock. So it's a small amount of firms that are out there, and none of them are local. They were all from out of state that do this type of work.
And how satisfied are we with the work they've done for us?
We are very satisfied.
I would echo that.
Okay.
Any other questions? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve the item. Is there a second? All those in favor of approving the item, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is a two-part item, item BC 2019-283, Court of Common Pleas Corrections Planning Board. A, submitting an RFP exemption on Requisition 44975, which will result in an award recommendation to Case Western Reserve University in the amount not to exceed $240,000 for data collection and program evaluation of the Cuyahoga County Veterans and Veterans Reentry Treatment Court Program. And it's for the period September 30th, 2018 through September 29th, 2021. And B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Marty Murphy from the Corrections Planning Board. We're recommending this award to Case Western Reserve University, the Begun Institute on the Research on Crime and Violence, specifically for the Veterans Treatment Court Award that we received late last fall.
Questions?
Yes.
Councilman?
What's the annual expenditure for the core program itself that we're evaluating? How large of a program is this?
This program is, we received our award for $2 million over 5 years. It's $400,000 a year. The amount that is in place for the research subset is $80,000 a year, and we anticipate that once we get our second award notification into the 5-year period, we'll be extending this for another 2, an additional $160,000.
Okay.
And Marty, the case was written into the grant
Yes, they
to
were.
be the evaluator.
It was
Yeah.
part of the submission was that we have an identified evaluator plus the evaluation model. Case Western Reserve was the identified collaboration team member.
All right. If there are no further questions, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor of the item, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Smart.
Item BC 2019-284, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Children and Family Services, recommending an award on Requisition 44845 and enter into a contract with Fun and Stuff Amusements, Inc. in the amount not to exceed $8,875 for rental of space, catering, and related services for the 2019 National Adoption Day event being held on November 23rd, 2019.
Good morning, Bob Math with the Department of Health and Human Services on behalf of Division of Children and Family Services. Each year, DCFS hosts, during Adoption Month in November, they host an event to bring awareness to in the community of the need to bring permanency for children, to also thank those adoptive families that have taken on our children, and then also to provide adoptive families with make them aware of all the support and the post-adoption services that are available to them. Well, this is a little early since the event's not till November. Our past experience tells us that some of these venues fill up quickly during the holiday season. So that's why we did that now, to make sure we get the event, the date we wanted the event to be held on. and we issued an informal bid, and this was the respondent with the lowest bid.
Any questions?
Just a comment. We don't have a problem with earliness. It's lateness that we have a problem with.
Our best.
Soon there'll be no go-karts in November, right, 2019? Anyway.
It's going to primarily be indoors.
Yes, that's right. If there are no further questions, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and second. All those in favor of the item, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob.
Item, Department of Sustainability, A, submitting an RFP exemption on Requisition 44931, which will result in an award recommendation to the Brendel Group in the amount not to exceed $20,000 for consultant services in connection with the data collection, processing, inventory development, and data interpretation of county-wide greenhouse gas emissions. And it's for the period April 8th, 2019 through April 30th, 2020. And B, recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Mike Foley from the Department of Sustainability. When we signed on to the Mayor's Compact against climate change a couple years ago, one of the things that we agreed to do was to do data collection around greenhouse gas emissions for the county. So this contract is to hire the Brendel Group, who helped us last year and has been working with the City of Cleveland over the last 5 or 6 years and gathering data, analyzing data, and helping us put that together.
Any questions? There were some questions before the meeting that I guess have been answered, as far as I know. If there are no further questions, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. All right, we are moving on to exemptions. Go ahead, Andrea.
Next item is PC 2019-286, Department of Public Works, recommending an alternative procurement process to purchase construction equipment in the amount not to exceed $495,000 from Ohio CAT on an as-needed basis. And it's for the period April 8th, 2019 through April 7th, 2021.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Department of Public Works. This item, we're requesting an alternate procurement process for construction equipment. It's going to result in as-needed purchase orders that will still come back to the board for construction equipment. We had conducted with OPD a formal RFP process during the fourth quarter of last year. The plan holders listed went to 20 vendors, from my understanding. We had 3 bid submissions. Ohio CAT, Murphy Tractor, and Southeastern. Ohio CAT scored the highest through the RFP scoring process. I believe we had 8 or 9 different categories. They also had the best price. With the RFP, we priced out 2 typical construction items that we've ordered in the past. We could potentially order in the future. The Ohio CAT came in with the best price. They also will be providing the price structure through Sourcewell, which is the former NJPA. Ohio CAT's also the state of Ohio contract holder. This is for a 2-year period with a not to exceed. We can't make commitment because we don't know what construction equipment we're going to purchase for the next 2 years. The intent of this is to identify the vendor that we would go to when we do have a piece of construction equipment that we deem as a business need. And when we do that, that particular item will still come to the Board of Control as a purchase order. So you'll clearly see what we're purchasing, and we'll just reference back to this RFP award.
I want to ask Andrea or someone in procurement, what makes this alternative? It sounds like you did have an actual RFP of somewhat formal. What makes it an alternative procurement, though?
Lenora Lockett, Office of Procurement and Diversity. I believe in this case that instead of a contract where we encumber the funds for the purchase, the department is going to be able to make the purchase at that time with a PO and not have to encumber the funds until at the time that they need it. As Tom Pavich mentioned, they don't know exactly what equipment they're going to need and within this 2-year period when they're going to need it.
So there was no modification of the competitive element of the process. No, that was within.
Right. We still did a competitive process. The intent is to identify who we would go to as needed. Now, when we worked on releasing this last August, September, we went to our fleet manager. We didn't have anything in the pipeline. At the beginning of this year, we had nothing in the pipeline. We still don't have any commitment that we're going to purchase now, but sometime this year or next year, we may need to buy an excavator, depending on the Harvard Road transition as everyone comes together. So And Lenore's right, we didn't want to encumber this money up front. We did this very, almost identical process in 2013. That was, I think, $1.2 million. We only used, I think, $700,000 of that. So had we encumbered 1.2, we would have had 500 plus thousand that we wouldn't have used. So the intent is, you know, as needed, we'll still come to the board with a purchase order. So if we need to purchase an excavator this year or next year, it'll still come here on a border control agenda.
Great. Any other questions?
Yes.
Councilman?
Did they provide a specific pricing on individual items as part of this?
So with this RFP, we, there's so many different variances in construction equipment. We had them price out two different items, a mini excavator and a front loader or wheel loader. You know, there's a base price and then there's add-ons. You have the different claws, the different buckets. Those are all different prices. So when we combine the price, you know, we have a bottom baseline price for a mini excavator as well as the front loader. Ohio Cat's going to provide Ohio Cat brand. We've got other vendors that are going to provide their brand. They can provide whatever brand they wanted. We were not brand specific.
And are they committed to the prices that they quoted
Yes.
for the 2 years?
Yes, and especially Ohio Cat because we're going to be getting the sourcewell pricing structure, so we know we're going to get the best price.
Councilwoman?
On the funding sources, is there a percentage that comes out of each of those, or does it depend on what's purchased?
It depends on what's purchased. So over the next 2 years, if we purchase 2 excavators for sanitary, it's going to be 100% sanitary. So we didn't want to put a percentage because we don't know what we're going to purchase.
If I may, what would qualify for general fund?
If our facilities, our tradesmen need to buy anything, I wouldn't anticipate that, but you know, there's still construction equipment they could need. You know, as we're doing some more construction projects in-house, there could be large pieces of equipment that are deemed construction.
That would come out of general fund?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. But that would all come back to us anyway?
Absolutely, and then through a purchase order method.
Thank you.
All right. If there are no further questions, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion second. All those in favor of the item, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, item number BC 2019-287, Department of Development, recommending to amend board approval number BC 2014-317, dated December 22nd, 2014, which approved an alternative procurement process to receive non-competitive applications from cities, villages, and townships in Cuyahoga County for the demolition program funding, which resulted in funding agreements in the total amount not to exceed $41,000 for eligible, $1 million, for eligible expenses and costs incurred for demolition of vacant, abandoned, nuisance, or blighted structures owned by the land bank for various time periods between January 1st, 2015 through December 31st, 2019, by extending the time period to December 31st, 2020.
Good morning, Ken Surratt, Department of Development in the University of Virginia. This item is, as Andrea explained, really just extending the non-land bank portion of the demolition, the alternative procurement process. The original legislation requires that we do non-competitive application rounds. This alternative procurement basically supports that. We want to extend it just as demolitions have been taking a lot longer than we originally expected when this legislation originally was adopted.
Any questions? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second? Motion second. All those in favor of the item, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Good luck, Ken, tonight. Yeah. All right, I think we're on to the consent agenda. We have a few items, some travel.
And it's consent agenda item numbers BC 2019-288 through 290.
Any questions about the consent agenda items? Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve. I'm sorry, Councilman, go ahead.
I was just curious, and I know we got a response back, but keeping track of the dollars that are invested in the renovation of the jail, especially the kitchen, and I just got this morning, so I haven't really had a chance to read through this. Is there more that is going to be, what is our total investment? I thought we were reaching the cap of what it took to invest in this jail and kitchen.
Good morning, Matt Reimer with the Department of Public Works. Councilwoman, so the original budget and the budget as it stands is $3.1 million for that overall project. So we continue to have procurements within that budget.
Okay.
As you may know, our general trades are the contractor on this project, and so we act as, they act as the contractor, and so we have to procure different items for their materials as well as any supporting contracts. We do have several key remaining procurements that will be coming to the board, specifically an epoxy and wall finishes bid that is, we opened those bids 2 weeks ago, and maybe a week ago, and we're ready to bring those to the board here in the next 2 board meetings.
Okay. So of the 3.1 million, I guess, and I think if I'm reading this quickly here, it says 410,000 is left.
In procurements, and then there's a labor piece. Our trades laborers then get charged back to the project as well.
So how much do you think is left in the fund? How much more will we be anticipating approving to finish this kitchen in the jail?
I anticipate that the board will that 410,000 is what I anticipate the remaining procurements that the board will see.
Okay.
The remaining will be labor chargebacks that happen through the natural process.
Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other consent agenda questions? All right. Hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve the items on the consent agenda. Is there a second? There's a motion and a second. All those in favor of consent agenda items, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you. So we do have a couple of time-sensitive mission-critical items.
Yes, the first mission-critical item that we have is from the Department of Public Works, recommending an award on Requisition 45437 with Great Lakes Petroleum in the amount not to exceed $24,735.57 for supplemental distillates for various county locations. And the funding source being utilized is Road and Bridge Fund, 36%, Sanitary Sewer Funds, 51%, and Airport Funds, 13%.
Good morning, Tom Pavich, Department of Public Works. This item is a mission-critical item that we had authorized. It's for the purchase of supplemental distillates for various locations. Supplemental distillates, it's various types of fuel and oils. The pricing we're getting is through state contract pricing. We had a brand new contract that started in February. We had a business need to get the mission-critical. We authorized it prior to that new contract started, so there's no interruption of service. We worked with the vendor, and we received state contract pricing for the mission critical. The new contract is through the state contract. We don't purchase as much fuel to do any type of competitive bid. We actually presented it a few weeks ago. That was a question we had. But this is authorization for the mission critical purchase for a couple locations.
Question.
So Tom, is this purchase of fuel from back in February?
It is. Okay. It is. Yeah, the new contract with Great Lakes Petroleum state contract holders started, I believe it was February 25th. This was prior to that, so we had no interruption of service.
And just in terms of delay, why is it coming now?
So we had there's a few different factors. One, we did have an internal staffing issue. The new contract was assigned as they were working with the vendor. We had someone else take over to get it finalized. That's what was approved for the new start date of 2/25. We couldn't risk any type of fuel outage, so we authorized this. It was our down season, which is good, but we couldn't take any risk. So we authorized the mission critical.
But moving forward now, we're okay because
we are. The new contract is through the state of Ohio. It goes until December 31st of this year. We only took it through this year just because we're moving to Harvard. We've got new gas tanks going in there, or they're being refurbished, so we don't know the size capacity we're going to have out there. As we work through the second and third quarter of this year, we'll have a better game plan, and we can forecast, for 2020 and beyond.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So we need to vote to amend the agenda, right, Andrea?
Yes.
So is there I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to add this item. Is there a second? Second. There's a motion and second to amend the agenda. All those in favor of amending the agenda, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? And then we can move to a vote for the item itself. I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second? Motion and second to approve the item. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tim. We have one other. Go ahead.
Yes, the next time-sensitive mission-critical item is from the Office of the Medical Examiner, recommending an award on Requisition 45036 to VWR International in the amount of $4,621.19, and it's for the purchase of one storage unit for slides for the histology lab. And the funding source being utilized is the general fund.
Hugh Shannon, Medical Examiner's Office. So this is just a specialized cabinet to hold the specimen slides that we produce for the forensic pathologists. When we get to the end of the year and the doctors are finishing up their casework, it kind of piles up a little bit, and I think they just started returning all the slides at once, and so they didn't realize that they were short on space. So.
Any questions? All right, hearing none, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to add this item. Is there a second? All those in favor of approving the amendment of the agenda for this item, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. Also, I'd like to make a motion to approve this item. Is there a second? All those in favor of approving the item, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
We enter a couple of just items of note, right?
We don't.
But we don't go through those? Oh, we're not going to. Okay, good. That's fine. But that's it. Any last public comment? Nope. There is none?
No public comment at this time.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye. Aye. Thank you.